I died, choking on my own blood. The cold tile of my kitchen floor pressing into my cheek as my daughter-in-law's heels clicked away down the hall. Her voice a venomous whisper. Finally. The old bitch is gone. Betrayal hit harder than the poison she'd slipped into my tea, my own flesh and blood. The son I'd raised alone, married to this viper who orchestrated it all for his inheritance. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my body 3 years earlier. Heart pounding in that same kitchen, the tea steaming innocently on the counter, and her smile across the table like butter would melt. Quinn Harper, 62, and widowed for a decade, staring at her reflection in the microwave door, same gray-streaked hair, same laugh lines etched deeper by grief. But this time, I knew. I knew every lie she'd weave, every forged document she'd plant, every tear she'd fake at my funeral to console my son, only to bleed him dry after shoving me 6 feet under. The air tasted like second chances and bile. And as I gripped the edge of the sink to steady myself, one thought burned brighter than the rage. She'd pay. Not with tears or pleas, but with the slow unraveling of her perfect little empire, brick by hypocritical brick. That morning in 2022, the world outside my Seattle split level was all crisp autumn leaves and barista-fueled commuters. But inside, it was already war. I'd just hosted brunch for Ethan, my boy, 35 and climbing the corporate ladder at Boeing, and his wife, Lila Voss, the golden girl from a Vanderbilt pedigree who'd snagged him at a tech mixer in San Francisco. She was all yoga-toned limbs and influencer smiles, posting about blended family bliss on Instagram while whispering in Ethan's ear that I was draining his energy. Little did she know, I was about to drain hers. I set the teapot down with deliberate calm, the porcelain clinking like a loaded chamber. Lila's eyes flicked up from her phone, that practiced concern masking the predator beneath. Quinn, you look tired. Everything okay? Her voice was honey over gravel, the same tone she'd used in my last life when she discovered me collapsed, dialing 911 just late enough to ensure the autopsy pinned it on a heart attack, her perfect cover for the arsenic she'd dosed from some dark web supplier. Tired? Oh, honey, you have no idea. I poured her cup first, watching the steam curl like the noose she'd nearly tightened around my neck. In this timeline, I hadn't confronted her yet. Brunch was our monthly ritual, a facade of mother-in-law bonding over scones and small talk about Ethan's promotion. But I remembered the emails she'd sent to her divorce lawyer 6 months from now, citing my interference as grounds. The way she'd convinced Ethan I was hoarding his childhood home's equity to spite them. The secret she'd buried? It wasn't just greed. It was darker. Lila had been skimming from Ethan's 401k, funneling it into a crypto scam run by her ex from college, a Ponzi scheme that would tank their savings and leave him suicidal. All while she played the grieving widow after my sudden passing, unlocked the life insurance payout. I slid her tea across the oak table, my knuckles white. Drink up. It's your favorite, Earl Grey with a twist of lemon. The twist being nothing this time. Last round, that lemon peel had hidden the fatal dose. She sipped, oblivious, her manicured nails tapping the saucer. Ethan was in the living room, scrolling job listings on his laptop. The son I'd poured every dime into after his father bailed for a midlife crisis in Vegas. He deserved better than this snake coiling around his life. As the caffeine hit her, I leaned in, voice low. Lila, we need to talk about the future. Her brow arched, That micro-expression I'd cataloged in therapy sessions post-rebirth, shock therapy from a no-nonsense shrink into coma who'd help me process the fury without exploding prematurely. Future? Like retirement planning? Ethan and I have it covered. I smiled, the kind that didn't reach my eyes.
No.
Darling. The future where you stop lying to my son about that side hustle of yours. Her cup froze midway to her lips. I'd hacked her iCloud in week 2 of this second life. Old dog. New tricks. Courtesy of a YouTube tutorial and sheer spite. Screenshots of transfers to LV Investments, a shell company tied to her ex. Marcus Hale. A sleazy fintech bro who'd ghosted her after college, but resurfaced for a cut of a con. What the hell? Quinn. She glanced toward the living room. But Ethan was humming along to some podcast. Earbuds in. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh. I do. $5,000 last month to Marcus. Before that, 10 from Ethan's bonus. You're not investing, you're laundering his future for your ex's yacht fund. The words hung like smoke. Controversial as hell. Accusing her daughter-in-law of fraud over brunch? In polite Pacific Northwest society. That was social suicide. But politeness had gotten me poisoned once. This time, truth was my blade. She laughed. A brittle sound. You're paranoid. Stress from the empty nest. Maybe? Ethan said you'd been distant. Classic gaslight. Straight from the manipulator's playbook. But I had receipts. Printed and tucked in my apron pocket. I slid one across, a bank alert screenshot. Timestamped. Her face drained of color. That influencer glow cracking. Where did you get this? Common sense. And a little motherly intuition. I stood, towering in my sensible flats. The room shrinking around us. Ethan called from the couch. Everything good in there? Lila forced a smile, waving him off. Just girl talk. As he turned back, she hissed. You breathe a word, and I'll make your life hell. Ethan worships me. Who do you think he'll believe? In my first death, she'd won that round. Whispers of my dementia planted doubts with his boss. Isolation until I was a ghost in my own home. But rebirth had sharpened me. I'd spent months building an armor of evidence. Anonymous tips to Ethan's HR about workplace distractions, even a burner phone recording her pillow talk confessions to Marcus. Controversial? Hell yes, spying on family crossed every boundary. But betrayal doesn't play fair. Try me, I whispered back. Pack your lies and get out. Or I unpack them for everyone. She bolted upright, chair scraping like nails on a coffin. Ethan wandered in, brow furrowed. What's going on? Lila spun the narrative like a pro. Your mom's having one of her episodes. Accusing me of... God. I don't know. Stealing silverware. Tears welled. Oscar-worthy. Ethan hugged her, shooting me that disappointed look. The one that gutted me deeper than any poison. Mom.
Come on.
Lay off the true crime podcasts. I could have raged. Shattered the illusion then and there. But revenge isn't a sprint. It's a marathon of calculated cuts. I backed down, feigning confusion. Sorry.
Just.
Bad dream. They left soon after. Lila's glare promising war. As the door clicked shut, I poured my own tea clean, hot, alive, and toasted the mirror. Round one to me. Bitch. The weeks blurred into a tense détente. Ethan chalked it up to my adjustment issues, suggesting therapy, ironic, since I'd already been seeing Dr. Patel. framing it as grief counseling for his dad. Sessions where I vented the impossible. Dying.
Returning.
Plotting. It's like living in a revenge thriller, I'd say. And she'd nod. Prescribing mindfulness apps. But mindfulness be damned, I was curating a dossier. Lila ramped up her charm offensive, surprise dinners. Justice girls' spa days I declined with migraines. Underneath, the scheming escalated. I intercepted a text on Ethan's forgotten phone. Need to accelerate. Old ladies onto us. Push the prenup talk. Prenup? They were 5 years in. No kids. But she'd floated it casually last month, citing her family trust.
Lie.
Her Vanderbilt lineage was as fake as her highlights. She dropped out after embezzling sorority funds. A secret I'd unearthed via a skip trace service that made me feel like a low-rent PI. My first controversial decision came on a rainy Thursday. Ethan was at a conference in Portland, leaving me and Lila alone for the weekend, her idea. To mend fences. She arrived with wine and apologies. All wide-eyed innocence.
Quinn.
I overreacted. Let's start fresh. We sat in the den. Fire crackling. Her pouring Merlot like it was antidote to arsenic. I let her talk, nodding along, until the third glass loosened her tongue. Ethan's so stressed. That promotion? It's kill or be killed at Boeing. We need security. Security meaning my house. Willed to him but with a clause for my lifetime use, unless I consented to sell. In the original timeline, she'd forged my signature post-mortem, claiming dementia. You're right, I said, swirling my glass. Security matters. Tell me more about Marcus. Her laugh died.
Who?
The ex. The one getting your R money. I pulled out my phone, playing the recording, her voice, breathy in some motel. Double the transfer.
Babe.
Ethan's loaded. And his mom's loaded too. Lila lunged for it. But I yanked back, spilling wine like blood on the rug. You recorded me? That's illegal. In Washington, one-party consent. Sweetheart. And this is theft. Her mask shattered, raw fury. The kind that had stared down my dying eyes. You think you're smart? I'll ruin you. Tell Ethan you're unstable. Get you committed. The threat hung, but I was ready. Go ahead. But first, this. I hit send on an email to Ethan's inbox, CC to his sister. My niece, Riley, in Chicago, attaching the dossier. Transfers, recordings, even a timeline linking Lila's investments to Marcus's SEC complaint history. Controversial as hell. Airing dirty family laundry digitally. Risking Ethan's heartbreak. But silence had killed me once. Ethan's reply pinged minutes later. Mom. WTF?
Coming home now.
Lila fled into the night, tires squealing on wet pavement. By dawn,
He was on my doorstep.
face ashen, demanding answers. I gave them every brutal truth, watching his world crack. She said it was for us, he whispered, collapsing onto the couch. I held him as he sobbed, the son I'd lost to her lies twice over. But Lila didn't slink away. Oh no. She lawyered up, filing for separation with claims of my harassment and elder abuse. The courts ate it up, grandma versus millennial. The narrative wrote itself. Tabloids picked it up. Boeing airs toxic family feud, painting me as the bitter crone. Public opinion? A shitstorm. Neighbors whispered. Ethan's colleagues side-eyed. My controversial play, leaking to a local blogger, anonymized but pointed, about Lila's Vanderbilt dropout and sorority scam.
Tit for tat.
And it went viral. Ethan filed for divorce, but Lila countersued for half his assets, dragging out the filth. Marcus vanished with the crypto, leaving her scrambling. I thought I'd won, but the twist loomed: deeper betrayal, buried in my own past. The divorce dragged like a bad acid trip. 6 months of depositions and character assassinations in a Tacoma courtroom that smelled of stale coffee and desperation. Ethan hollowed out, chain smoking on the porch like his old man, while I played Fortress, cooking his favorites, screening his calls, whispering affirmations. Dr. Patel would have approved. You're enough,
Kid.
always were. But guilt gnawed. My rebirth intel had saved him. But at what cost? His trust and love shattered. And mine and family? I'd overlooked the rot in my own roots. It started with a manila envelope, unmarked, slipped under my door during a rare grocery run. Inside, yellowed clippings from 1998, my husband's accident report, car wreck on I-5. Ruled DUI but with scribbled notes. Witness discrepancy. Brake failure. Attached. A photo. Young Lila. Maybe 20. Posing with a greasy-haired kid who wasn't Marcus. Flipped over. Ask your son about the trust fund he never told you about.
Ethan?
A trust fund?
His dad.
Rick. Had been a mechanic. Not a mogul. We'd scraped by on double shifts and food stamps after the divorce. But as I dug late nights on ancestry sites and public records, truth clawed out. Rick hadn't bailed for Vegas, he'd been pushed. Brake lines cut. A payoff to the witness who fingered him for drunk driving. And the payout? Funneled into a trust for Ethan, hidden by Rick's lawyer to protect it from me. They unstable ex. Unstable? I'd battled depression postpartum. Sure. But nothing a pill and prayer couldn't touch. Worse, Lila knew. She'd met Ethan in college. But her Vanderbilt lie-masked a stint at community college near Rick's crash site. The photo? Her with the witness. A lowlife named Tommy Greer. Now doing life for meth. She'd been the lookout. 17 and hungry. For a chop shop ring targeting Rick's garage. Insurance scam gone murder. Lila's secret wasn't just greed. It was blood on her hands. And Ethan's inheritance the prize she'd chased him for. Confronting him was my second big controversy, ripping open a grave I'd buried decades ago. We sat in the kitchen, the same where I died, over cold pizza, my hands shaking as I laid out the clippings. Your dad didn't leave us.
Ethan.
Someone made him leave. His face crumpled, denial flashing to rage. This is bullshit. Dad was a drunk. You always said. I said what kept us afloat. But this changes everything. He stormed out, tires spinning gravel, but returned at midnight, drunk and broken. If it's true.
God. Mom.
Why hide it? To protect you. Like I'm doing now. We hired a PI. Ex-cop named Harlan with a buzz cut and bourbon breath. Who confirmed it? Tommy's confession in prison, implicating a young Lila as the spotter. She'd walked free on juvie deal, resurfaced to seduce Ethan after hacking his alumni records, targeting the rich orphan. Lila's countermove was vicious. Anonymous leaks to Ethan's HR, claiming he was unstable, citing family violence from my interventions. Boeing suspended him pending review. The axe hovering. Public backlash mounted, cancel Quinn trending on Twitter. Feminists decrying my toxic masculinity enabler past as if ignoring my husband's murder made me complicit. I fired back online. A ghost account dropping Tommy's mugshot next to Lila's wedding pics. Digital vigilantism. Pure controversy, crossing into doxing territory. Ethics be damned. Harlan's report dropped the bomb. The trust was real. $2.3 million. Vested at Ethan's 40th. Lila had known via a mole in the law firm, her cousin, the clerk who'd fed her Rick's will. She'd poisoned me to trigger the payout early, framing it as inheritance acceleration. Ethan confronted her in a coffee shop meet, mic'd by Harlan, her laugh, cold as Seattle fog. Your mom's a liar,
Babe.
but the money? Ours now. Divorce finalized in a blur. Ethan got the house. I got visitation rights to my own life. Lila walked with alimony, slithering to LA. With Marcus's ghost money. But I wasn't done. Revenge's climax brewed in a plan so twisted. It scared even me. Expose her, but make her beg. Thanksgiving loomed. Ethan's first solo. I hosted. Riley flying in from Chicago with her husband and kids, buffer against the void. The table groaned under turkey and tension, but laughter bubbled. Real for once. Ethan raised a glass to second chances. My eyes misted. In the old life. This holiday preceded my poisoning. Lila's sympathy, pie laced with hate. Post-feast. As pie cooled, my phone buzzed. Harlan. Got her. LA.
Address.
Plus a fresh scam brewing, same Ponzi. New marks. Lila. Unbowed. Targeting Hollywood wannabes. I drove solo that night. Ethan's protests echoing. Mom. Let it go. Cops handle this. Cops? They'd buried Rick's case as accident.
No.
This was personal. The drive south was purgatory, freeway hypnosis, radio droning true crime podcasts that mirrored my madness. LA. Hit like a fever dream, palm-lined sprawl. Lila's condo in Silver Lake, a glass box overlooking the basin. I buzzed up at 2 a.m., buzzed on adrenaline. Her voice slurry through the intercom. Who the fuck? Delivery. From Seattle. She buzzed me in, expecting takeout. Not reckoning. Door ajar. She lounged in silk, wine glass dangling. Marcus snoring on the couch, real this time.
Tattoos peeking from sheets.
Quinn? What the? I stepped in, door clicking shut like fate. Miss me? Her eyes widened, scrambling for her phone. I held up a USB drive. Play nice. Or this hits every newsroom from here to Tacoma. Tommy's full confession. Your juvie file. The break job invoice.
Oh.
And the arsenic supplier. Dark web breadcrumbs lead right to your VPN. She froze. Glass slipping. You can't. Ethan's my life.
Was.
Now you're done. Marcus stirred. But I had pepper spray, grandma's equalizer. Controversial? Breaking and entering. Extortion vibes, straight felony territory. But her crimes dwarfed mine. Murder for money? I'd burn to ash before forgiving. Leave. Or I call the cops. Her bluff cracked. Voice trembling. I plugged the drive into her TV, grainy video of Tommy in orange. Spilling. Girl named Lila. Yeah. Spotted the mark. Got $50 to look away. Her face on old DMV photo. Superimposed. She sank to the floor. Sobs ugly and real.
Please.
I was young.
Broke.
It wasn't planned. like poisoning an old lady for a payout. I loomed, heart thundering. Rick died because of you. Ethan suffered. I died. The slip, my voice broke on the impossible truth. Her head snapped up. Died? What are you? Doesn't matter. Pack up. Leave him alone. Or this goes public. Marcus bolted upright, lunging, but Lila waved him off.
Defeated. Fine. Just.
Go. I left her curled there, empire crumbling. Dawn broke as I hit the 5 North. Radio silent. Soul lighter but scarred. Ethan texted. Where are you? Turkey's cold. Home by noon. I lied about a drive to clear my head. Dinner thawed the chill. Riley's kids chaos a bomb. But twists don't end easy. Weeks later. A package. Lila's Vanderbilt ring. Pawned. With a note, you win. But blood calls. Attached. A paternity test. Ethan's. Negative. Not Rick's son? The scandal she'd dangled. Fake but vicious. She'd planted it to discredit him in the divorce. Rage reignited. But I burned it, framing the photo by the mantel a reminder. Ethan proposed to a colleague. Sweet and steady, wedding in spring.
Me?
I wrote a memoir. Anonymized. Shadows in the Trust, bestseller in true crime circles. Controversial for blurring fact and fury. Lila faded to obscurity. Busted for fraud in 24. Orange jumpsuit her new look. Yet in quiet nights, I wondered, rebirth's gift or curse. I'd saved my son, avenged my death. But the cost, Ethan's innocence, my soul's stains. As his vows echoed in the church, I whispered to Rick's ghost, we made it. Happy? Close enough. But regret? Hers alone.
No.
That was the lie I told myself, through the wedding haze, petals and promises. Ethan's grin wide as the Puget Sound. Riley caught my eye from the pew. Mouthing proud, I nodded. But inside, the hook twisted deeper. Lila's note hadn't been a white flag, it was bait. The paternity test was bogus. Lab stamps forged. But the real bomb lurked in the fine print. Coordinates to a storage unit in Tacoma. Key enclosed. Find out what your husband really hid. Obsession clawed back that night. Post-reception buzz fading to insomnia. I drove at midnight. Rain sheeting the windshield like tears unshed. The unit, 47, smelled of mildew and secrets, boxes labeled Harper Estate. 92, Rick scrawl. Rifling through, tax returns, love letters yellowed with my lipstick stains. Then a ledger. Not accounting, hits. Rick moonlighting as a fixer for the chop shop ring. Muscle for debtors. The kind of dirt that stains souls. My stomach dropped. Pages chronicle jobs. Repossessions turned shakedowns. One entry circled. L. Voss Skip. 17 years old. Tommy's girl. Easy mark. 500. Lila? Rick had been the collector. Cornering her for a bounce check on stolen parts. She'd fingered him to the rival crew for revenge. Breaks cut in kind. Cycle of violence. My husband the spark. Worse, Ethan's birth certificate. Tucked in an envelope. Not Rick's blood? No. The ledger noted a one-night lapse. Pre-marriage fling with a waitress. But DNA confirmed paternity. The real secret? Rick knew about Lila's role. Post-crash investigation stalling because he'd paid off Tommy to recant, protecting the ring, burying his own complicity. I'd married a criminal. Raised a son on blood money. The trust tainted by extortion. Confronting Ethan meant shattering his pedestal. Spring thawed to summer. His new wife, Sarah, a no-nonsense engineer with laugh lines like mine, nesting in the old house. I waited for a fishing trip. Just as boys at the cabin on Hood Canal. Rods idle as I spilled. Your dad. He wasn't perfect. The ledger pages fluttered in the breeze off the water. His face paling as he read. Dad?
A thug.
Disgust warred with denial. And you knew? Not till now. Rebirth, hell. Life keeps digging graves. I confess the impossible. Framing it as metaphor. Dreams of death. Visions of truth. He listened. Hook cast forgotten. Then hurled the ledger into the waves. We're done with this poison. All of it. But poison lingers. Lila, sensing weakness, resurfaced via a lawyer's letter suing for defamation over my memoir, claiming shadows libeled her as murderer. The book had exploded, podcasts, Netflix option, but success bred enemies. Her angle, twist Rick's ledger into proof he killed her witness. Me the enabler. Controversial pivot. Countersue. Release the full files. Airing our family's filth. Ethan begged no. Let it die.
Mom.
Sarah's pregnant. Pregnant. Joy spiked. Then terror. History's echo. I caved. Settling out of court. Gagging the truth. But Lila pushed. Leaking snippets to TMZ. Heiress haunt. And Miles' mob ties exposed. Paparazzi swarmed the baby shower. Sarah's glow dimmed by flashbulbs. Public trial by tweet. Harper hustle. Me the villainous. Ethan collateral. My third controversy. Going nuclear. I met Harlan in a dive bar off Aurora. Nursing IPAs as he slid a dossier, Lila's LA. Crash pad raided. Feds circling her latest scam. She's desperate. Leverage? His grin was wolfish. I nodded. The plan forming. Anonymous tip to the DA. Linking her juvie to Rick's murder fresh. No trial. Just pressure. Make her flip on Marcus for immunity. Bury the ring's remnants. Execution night. I drove south again. This time with Sarah's blessing. Protect our kid.
Quinn.
Whatever it takes. LA's heat wave baked the condo block. Lila answering in a tank top. Sweat slicked and strung out. You again? Haven't you ruined enough? Ruined? You started this. Brakes on my husband's car. Poison in my cup. I shoved the tip letter inside. Pre-written confession outline. Sign. Implicate Marcus. And the feds look away from your past. Or fight. And Ethan's child grows up in headlines. She laughed. Manic. You think I'm scared? Ethan's not even, she stopped. Eyes darting. The note from before. The fake paternity bluff. But what if? What did you say? Nothing. Just. Leave us be. But she lunged, grabbing my arm. Nails digging. He's not Rick's. I know because I know who is.
Lie?
Truth? Panic surged. In my death throes. Whispers of doubts. But I'd buried them. Prove it. My voice steady. But heart hammered. She released. Slumping. DNA from the wedding. Hair off his pillow. Matched to some John in Rick's ledger. Your boy's a bastard.
Quinn.
Leverage forever. The world tilted. I snatched the letter back. Fleeing as sirens wailed distant. Her tip? Mine? Drive home blurred. Tests bought at a gas station pharmacy. Ethan's toothbrush swiped. Results. Match to Rick.
Lie.
But the seed planted doubt. A cancer. Climax hit in fall. Lila's arrest splashed nationwide. Crypto queen busted. Links to cold case murder. She flipped. Marcus cuffed beside her. The ring's ghosts exhumed. Ethan, belly swelling with Sarah's bump, hugged me fierce. You did it. We're free. But freedom's illusion. The twist. My rebirth wasn't random. In the ledger's last page. Rick's suicide note. Faked death?
No.
Confession. If I go, it's for the boy. Trust keeps him clean. He'd staged the wreck. Insurance for us. Dying to escape the life. Betrayal's deepest cut. I'd avenged a lie. My husband's choice the original sin. Winter clamped Seattle in gray. The kind that seeps into bones. Mirroring the frost in my veins. Ethan's call came on solstice. Voice cracking over the line. Mom. It's a boy. Daniel Rick Harper. Joy Ward with the ledger's echo. Rick's name. A tribute or tombstone. Sarah's labor had been hell. Preterm scare from stress. The headline's residue. I drove to the hospital. Wipers slapping rhythm. Vowing silence on the secrets gnawing. The nursery window framed them. Ethan. Exhausted haloed by fluorescence. Cradling the squirming bundle. Sarah dozing. Fierce even in sleep. Daniel's fist waved. Tiny warrior. I press my palm to glass. Whispering. Grandpa's clean now. But cleanliness? A myth. Lila's trial loomed. Spring docket. Her plea deal crumbling as new witnesses surfaced. Tommy's cellmate. Spilling her role in Rick's accident as mutual setup, she'd lured him for the chop shop. He'd countered with a hit meant to scare. Breaks botched into fatality. DA called me in. Deposition room sterile as an autopsy. Mrs. Harper. Your husband's involvement, did you suspect? Lies tempted. Protect the myth, but truth clawed. He was flawed. We all are. Controversial candor. Risking Ethan's idol. But rebirth taught mercy's blade cuts both ways. I testified. Voice steady. Painting Rick as victim and villain. Lila the opportunist who'd exploited the grave. Courtroom drama unfolded like bad TV. Lila in cuffs. Once golden hair link. Glaring daggers as I took the stand. Her lawyer. Slick as oil. Grilled. You spied. Extorted. Leaked vigilante justice. The gallery murmured. Press sketched furiously. I met her eyes. Justice? For my husband's murder. My poisoning, yes. Call it what you want. Gasps rippled. Admitting crimes? Ballsy. Borderline perjury adjacent. But the judge sustained. Jury swayed. Verdict. Guilty. 20 to life. Her empire ash. Marcus rolled over. Singing for leniency, the ring's remnants scattered like roaches. Ethan watched from the back. Daniel on his lap. Face a mask of closure. Post-trial. Over diner fries. He squeezed my hand. You could have buried it. Lied for Dad. Would have poisoned us all over again. The metaphor landed. My impossible truth veiled. He nodded. Shadows lifting. But the final twist coiled in spring's thaw. Cleaning the attic, purging ghosts, I found Rick's real journal. Hidden in a rafter. Not ledger lies. Love letters. Sketches of Ethan unborn. Confession raw. Stage the wreck to fake death. Start clean in Reno. Insurance for Quinn and boy. But breaks failed for real. Karma? If you read this.
Forgive.
Suicide note?
Forgery.
He'd survived the crash. Lived incognito till cancer took him in 15. Anonymous checks to our account the trust seed. Rebirth's cruel joke. I'd avenged a phantom. My death Lila's improv on a grudge from Rick's disappearance. Betrayal looped eternal. His choice birthed her hate. My silence enabled it. Rage flared, then faded. What good fury now? I burned the journal on the beach. Waves hissing secrets away. Ethan and Sarah's barbecue that summer. Daniel's first steps on my lawn. Legacy reclaimed. Memoir sequel?
Nah.
Instead, a trust for Daniel. Clean as snow. With a clause. Truth sets free. But choose your chains. Years blurred. Ethan climbed back at Boeing. Sarah's patents patenting green tech. Daniel's laughter echoing the kitchen where I'd died. Lila's appeals denied. Her letters from Walla Walla, begging forgiveness. Claiming redemption in God. I shredded them. But one line stuck. We all rebirth in regret. Did I regret? The controversies, spying, leaks, courtroom confessions scarred.
But saved.
A happy ending? In America's grit, it's earned, not gifted. As Daniel toddled to me, arms wide, I scooped him, whispering, "No poison here. Kid." The hook of death long unbent. Life's line taut with second chances. Yet in quiet, I wonder if I die true this time. Does the wheel spin again?
For now.
Regrets hers, packed in a cell. Unpacking alone. Mine? A full table. A son's hand in mine. And the sweet sting of victory. American as apple pie laced with arsenic's ghost.